The stars looked different out here. Captain Jinwoo Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching the alien ships move into position around them. 12 vessels, each one looking like it had grown from coral instead of being built. They glowed with soft blue light and moved through space like living things. "Captain, they're trying to talk to us again," said Communications Officer Mi-young Park. She kept her voice steady, but Jinwoo could see the tension in her shoulders. This was humanity's first real contact with aliens, and it wasn't going well. The alien message came through the speakers in broken English. The translation software was trying its best. "Unknown vessel, you will stop engines. You will allow boarding. This is law of Galactic Coalition. All new species must be checked and added to records." Jinwoo looked at his tactical officer, Commander Tae-hyun Lee. The man's hands hovered over the weapons controls. Red lights blinked on his console, showing that the alien ships had their weapons ready. But Tae-hyun waited for orders. That was the human way. Wait, watch, and be ready for anything. "Sir, what do we tell them?" Mi-young asked. Jinwoo had read the mission files. Earth's government had been very clear about first contact rules. Be polite, but don't show weakness. Learn everything you can. Most importantly, don't let them know how dangerous humans really were until it was too late to matter. "Tell them we're just passing through," Jinwoo said. "We mean no harm, but we won't be boarded." Mi-young sent the message. The alien response came back quickly, and this time the voice sounded angry. "You do not understand. All species must follow coalition law. You are primitive species from Outer Rim. You have no choice." The largest alien ship moved closer. It was beautiful in a strange way, with flowing curves and no hard edges. It looked peaceful. But the weapon systems that Tae-hyun's screen showed were anything but peaceful. "Captain," said Engineer Do-hyun Nam from his station, "their energy readings are off the charts. Those ships are powered by something I've never seen before. Looks like they're pulling energy straight from nearby stars." "How many of them are there?" Jinwoo asked. 12 ships, sir. The big one is about twice our size. The others are smaller, but they're all armed." Jinwoo nodded. The Indomitable was alone, far from Earth, carrying a crew of 300 humans, on what was supposed to be a peaceful exploration mission. But like all human ships, it was ready for war. It had to be. That was the human way. The alien voice came again. "This is Admiral Kethavar of Helion Empire Fleet. You will shut down engines. Now you will prepare for boarding. This is final warning." "Sir," Tae-hyun said quietly, "I'm reading massive energy buildup on all their ships. They're about to fire." Jinwoo looked around his bridge. His crew was ready. They had trained for this moment their whole lives, even if they didn't know it would be aliens they'd face. Every human ship that left Earth was built for one thing: to survive and fight when survival wasn't enough. "Open a channel," he said. "Channel open, sir. Admiral Kethvar, this is Captain Kim of the Earth vessel Indomitable. We appreciate your position, but we must decline your boarding request. We're here peacefully, but we won't surrender our ship to anyone." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice came back, and it sounded confused. "You refuse? Do you not understand your situation? You are one ship. We are 12. Your weapons are primitive. Your ship is small. Why do you refuse?" Jinwoo almost smiled. The aliens had no idea what they were dealing with. They saw a human ship and thought it was weak because it looked simple compared to their flowing organic vessels. They had no idea that humans built things to work, not to look pretty. "Because it's our ship," Jinwoo said simply. On the alien flagship, Admiral Kethvar stared at the communication screen. In his long career, he had met hundreds of species. All of them had the same reaction when they met the Coalition for the first time: fear, respect, immediate surrender. The Coalition was the most powerful force in the galaxy. Their ships were works of art, grown from living coral and powered by stellar energy. Their technology was thousands of years ahead of most species. But these humans were different. Their ship looked like it had been hammered together from metal scraps. Their weapons looked basic. Their technology seemed crude. But they weren't afraid. "Science Officer Hee-jin Choi," the Admiral said, "run a deep scan of their vessel. I want to know what we're dealing with. Yes, sir, came the reply. Beginning full spectrum analysis now. On the Indomitable, Do-Yun felt the alien scanners wash over the ship. Captain, they're scanning us, deep-level stuff. They're looking at everything. Let them look, Jinwoo said. He walked to the main view screen and stared at the alien ships. They were beautiful, but they moved wrong. Too smooth, too perfect. Human ships moved like they were built for war, because they were. Every line, every angle, every system was designed with one question in mind. How do we survive when everything goes wrong? Sir, Myung said, I'm picking up chatter between their ships. The translation is rough, but they sound confused about something. What kind of confused? They keep talking about our hull composition and our power systems. They seem surprised by something. Taehyun looked up from his console. Captain, I'm showing full weapons lock from all 12 ships, but they're not firing. It's like they're waiting for something. Jinwoo knew what they were waiting for. The scan results. Let them scan all they wanted. The Indomitable wasn't humanity's most powerful ship. It wasn't even close. It was just a simple exploration vessel, built to the same standards as every human ship, to survive anything the universe could throw at it. The alien admiral's voice came over the radio again. This time it sounded different, less confident. Human ship, you will wait for scan completion. Do not move. Do not power weapons. We're not moving, Jinwoo replied. But our weapons stay online. That's standard procedure. Another long pause. Then, what is standard procedure? Jinwoo looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. Good people, all of them, trained for this moment since they were children. Every human was trained for moments like this because in a universe full of unknowns, the only way to survive was to be ready for anything. Standard procedure is to be prepared, he said into the radio. We hope for peace, but we prepare for war. It's the human way. On the alien flagship, Science Officer Heejin stared at her screens in growing alarm. The scan was showing impossible things. The human ship's hull wasn't just metal. It was layers of different metals, ceramics, and something that looked like carbon fiber, but not normal carbon fiber. This was arranged in patterns that would make it stronger than anything in the Coalition database. Admiral, she said, her voice shaking slightly, you need to see this. What is it? Their ship? It's not what we thought. The hull is designed to survive direct nuclear impacts. The armor is ablative. It's meant to burn away under weapons. Fire and protect what's underneath. And sir, the power readings, what about them? They have 3 separate nuclear reactors, 3. Each one could power a coalition cruiser by itself. And they have backup systems for their backup systems. Sir, this ship is built like it expects to be shot at. A lot. Admiral Cathvar felt a chill run through his body. The coalition had met many species over the centuries. Some were peaceful. Some were aggressive. But none of them built their exploration ships like fortresses. Continue the scan, he ordered. I want to know everything about these humans. On the Indomitable, the crew went about their normal duties while the aliens scanned them. Engineer Nam checked the reactor temperatures. Everything was running perfectly. The 3 fusion reactors hummed quietly, providing more power than most alien ships could dream of. The backup systems were online and ready. The emergency chemical batteries were charged. If something went wrong, the ship could run for months on backup power alone. That was the human way. Build it strong, build it redundant, build it to survive. Captain, said Navigator Seojin Yu, I'm reading some interesting gravitational effects. From their ships, they're not using normal engines. What kind of engines? Looks like they're manipulating space-time directly, bending space to move forward instead of pushing against it. It's actually pretty elegant. Jinwoo nodded. The aliens had impressive technology, he'd give them that. But technology wasn't everything. The most advanced ship in the universe was useless if the crew wasn't ready to fight for it. Sir? Taehyun said. Their weapons are still locked on us. But I'm not reading any charge buildup. They're not preparing to fire. They're waiting, Jinwoo said. Probably waiting for orders from higher up. This is first contact for them too. Should we contact Earth? Myung asked. Jinwoo thought about it. Earth was months away. even with their fastest communication systems. By the time any message got there and back, this situation would be long over. They were on their own, just like every human ship that left home. "Not yet," he said. "Let's see what these aliens really want first." The alien admiral's voice came over the radio again. "Human vessel, your scan is complete. We will now discuss terms of your surrender." Jinwoo almost laughed. "Admiral, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're not surrendering to anyone. You have no choice. You are one ship against 12. You must follow coalition law." "With respect, Admiral, we don't recognize coalition authority over Earthships. We're..." Science Officer Heejin Choi had performed deep scans on over 300 different species during her career with the Coalition fleet. She knew what to expect from primitive civilizations. Simple metal hulls, basic fusion power, crude chemical, rockets, and weapons that barely qualified as dangerous. The human ship should have been no different. It looked crude from the outside, all hard angles and gray metal plating, no elegant curves, no organic flowing lines, no beautiful bioluminescent panels, just functional, ugly industrial design. But as her scanners penetrated deeper into the vessel's structure, Heejin began to realize that the humans had a very different idea of what functional meant. "Admiral Cathvar," she called out, her voice tight with confusion. "I'm getting some unusual readings from the human vessel." "Define unusual," the admiral replied from his command throne. Around them, the bridge of the Coalition flagship hummed with quiet efficiency. Living walls pulsed with data streams, and the floor beneath their feet was warm with the ship's biological processes. "Their hull composition, sir. It's not just metal. They're using layered armor, titanium steel alloys, carbon nanotube weaving, ceramic impact plates, and some kind of energy-absorbing foam between the layers." "Energy-absorbing foam?" Heejin ran the scan again to make sure. "Yes, sir. The foam appears to be designed to convert kinetic and thermal energy into harmless light and heat. Sir, this armor system could survive direct hits from plasma cannons." Admiral Kethavar frowned. The Coalition had encountered defensive-minded species before, but this seemed extreme for an exploration vessel. "What about their weapons?" "Still scanning, sir, but..." Heejin paused as new data flowed across her screens. "Admiral, I need to run these numbers again. Their primary weapon appears to be some kind of magnetic acceleration system." "Magnetic acceleration? They use powerful magnetic fields to launch solid projectiles, sir, but the velocities..." "Admiral, they're accelerating depleted uranium slugs to 15% of light speed." The bridge fell silent. Even the ship's biological systems seemed to pause. 15% of light speed meant that each projectile would hit with the force of a nuclear weapon, but without the radiation or electromagnetic pulse. It was a clean, efficient way to destroy things. "How many of these weapons do they have?" Admiral Kethvar asked quietly. 4 main cannons, sir, plus point defense systems that used the same technology on a smaller scale. Heejin's hands moved over her controls, pulling up more data. "And sir, they have missile systems as well." "Nuclear missiles?" "Thermonuclear, sir. 64 missiles in ready tubes with manufacturing capability to build more during flight. Each missile has a variable yield warhead ranging from 1 kiloton to 50 megatons." Commander Jaewon. Oh, the fleet's tactical analyst, moved to stand beside Heejin's station. "Show me their power systems." Heejin called up the energy scans. What she saw made no sense. "Sir, they have 3 separate fusion reactors. Each one is producing enough energy to power a Coalition heavy cruiser." 3 reactors? Why would an exploration ship need that much power? "I don't know, sir. But they also have backup fusion cells, chemical battery systems, and what appears to be an emergency reactor that runs on..." "Admiral, this can't be right." "What?" "The emergency reactor appears to run on matter-antimatter annihilation." The silence on the bridge stretched longer this time. Matter-antimatter reactions were theoretical for most Coalition species. The energy output was incredible, but the technology was considered too dangerous for practical use. Yet the humans had built it into their exploration ships as a backup power system. "Sir," said another voice from across the bridge, I'm Senior Analyst Subin Kang. I've been monitoring their internal communications during the scan. What are they saying? That's just it, sir. They're not talking about us at all. Their internal communications are about routine maintenance, duty schedules, and something called dinner rotation. They don't seem concerned about being outnumbered 12-1. Admiral Kethvar stared at the human ship on his main view screen. It sat there calmly, making no aggressive moves but also showing no signs of fear or surrender. Its crew was talking about dinner while surrounded by 12 hostile alien warships. Analyst Kang, what else can you tell me about their communications? Well, sir, they use very efficient data compression and encryption, military grade, but not impossible to crack. What's interesting is the content. They have detailed files on warfare tactics, ship-to-ship combat, planetary bombardment strategies, and something called boarding actions. Boarding actions? Fighting inside enemy ships, sir. They have detailed manuals on how to capture alien vessels from the inside. Heejin looked up from her scanner station. Admiral, I'm reading some very unusual structural features in their ship design. They have sealed combat compartments throughout the vessel. If the ship is breached, each section can be isolated from the others. They also have what appears to be multiple backup bridges, secondary life support systems, and, sir, they have internal weapons. Internal weapons? Automated defensive systems inside their own ship. If someone boards them, their ship can fight back from the inside. Commander Jaewon-Oh pulled up a tactical display showing the human vessel's layout. This isn't an exploration ship, he said quietly. This is a fortress that happens to be able to move through space. Admiral Kethvar activated his communication system. Human vessel, this is Admiral Kethvar. We have completed our initial scan of your ship. We would like to discuss your unusual design choices. Captain Jinwoo Kim's voice came back immediately. Admiral, I'm not sure what you mean. This is a standard Earth exploration vessel. Standard. Captain Kim, your ship appears to be designed for extended combat operations. There was a pause. Then the human captain replied, Well, yes, space is dangerous. We build our ships to survive. Survive what exactly? Another pause. Whatever we run into out there, asteroids, radiation storms, hostile aliens, pirates, system failures, reactor emergencies, the usual. Admiral Kethvar looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him with expressions of growing alarm. To humans, apparently, hostile aliens were just another item on a list of routine hazards. Captain Kim, the Admiral said carefully, what exactly do you consider normal threats that an exploration ship should be prepared for? Oh, the basic stuff. Micrometer impacts, solar flares, black hole gravity wells, hostile boarding parties, nuclear weapon attacks, biological contamination, system-wide wars, that sort of thing. System-wide wars? Sure, you never know when you're going to jump into a system where someone's having a conflict. Best to be prepared. Science Officer Heejin was running deeper scans now, focusing on the human ship's manufacturing capabilities. What she found made her call out in alarm. Admiral, they have a complete weapons manufacturing facility aboard their ship. What kind of weapons? All kinds, sir. They can manufacture ammunition, missiles, replacement parts for their cannons, even small spacecraft. And, sir, they have what appears to be a complete genetics lab. Genetics lab? For medical treatment, but also, Admiral, they can clone replacement crew members if needed. Admiral Kethvar felt a chill run through his biomechanical body. These humans didn't just expect their ships to survive battles. They expected their ships to continue fighting even after taking massive casualties. They had turned their exploration vessel into a completely self-sufficient war machine. Sir, came another voice from the communication station. I'm picking up more detailed information from their database. They have extensive files on something called human military history. Show me. The data stream flowed across the main view screen. Admiral Kethvar read in growing horror as thousands of years of human warfare scrolled past. Wars fought with sticks and stones. Wars fought with metal swords. Wars fought with gunpowder weapons. Wars fought with nuclear weapons. Wars fought in space. They've never stopped fighting, he whispered. No, sir, confirmed the communications officer. According to their records, humans have been engaged in organized warfare for over 10,000 years, sometimes against external threats, but mostly against each other. How is that possible? How does a species survive that long in constant warfare? By getting very, very good at it, sir. Senior analyst Subin Kang pulled up more data. Admiral, I've been analyzing their ship's construction techniques. This vessel wasn't built. It was engineered. Every single system has multiple backups. Every component is designed to function even under extreme battle damage. What do you mean? Sir, according to the structural scans, this ship is designed to remain functional even if 70% of it is destroyed. The critical systems are distributed throughout the vessel, protected by armor, and connected by redundant pathways. Admiral Kethvar stared at the innocent-looking human ship. What kind of species designs their exploration vessels to survive 70% destruction? A species that expects to lose 70% of their ships, sir. The Admiral opened a communication channel to the human vessel. Captain Kim, may I ask how many ships Earth has lost to exploration hazards? Lost ships? Well, that depends on how you count. In the last century, we've had about a 30% loss rate for ships traveling beyond the home system. 30%? Yes, sir, space is dangerous, that's... Admiral Kethavar made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He ordered a complete deep scan of the human vessel, including their databases, crew quarters, and cultural records. He wanted to understand exactly what kind of species he was dealing with. Science Officer Heejin, he commanded, I want everything. Their history, their culture, their technology, their biology. Use every scanner we have. Sir, a scan that deep will take several hours and will definitely be detected by their ship. Do it anyway, I need to know what we're facing. Heejin began the comprehensive scan, sending waves of energy through the human ship that would penetrate every database, every file, every piece of information stored aboard the vessel. On the human ship, alarms began to sound. Captain, called Engineer Do-hyun Nam. They're conducting a full invasive scan. They're trying to access our computers. Captain Jinwoo Kim nodded calmly. Let them. Make sure the classified files are locked down, but let them see the standard cultural and historical databases. Sir, they're going to see everything about human history. Good. Maybe they'll understand what they're dealing with. 3 hours later, Admiral Kethvar wished he had never given the order. The first shock came from Dr. Yuna Seo, the Coalition's xenobiologist. She had been analyzing the human crew's biological data, and what she found defied everything they knew about peaceful species development. Admiral, she called out, her voice shaking. You need to see the human biological readings. What about them? Sir, these humans show physical and psychological adaptations for warfare that go back thousands of generations. Their muscle density is 40% higher than normal for their size. Their reaction times are enhanced. Their stress response systems are adapted for combat situations. You mean they're naturally aggressive? No, sir. I mean they're naturally adapted to survive in constant warfare. Their bodies have evolved to fight. Their minds have evolved to make quick decisions under extreme pressure. Admiral, this isn't a crew of explorers who happen to be well-trained. This is a crew of soldiers who happen to be doing exploration. Admiral, Kethavar absorbed this information slowly. What else? Their genetic markers show signs of selective breeding, sir. Not recent, but going back centuries. They've been selecting for intelligence, physical strength, stress resistance, and something called tactical thinking. Selective breeding for war? It appears so, sir. And there's something else. Their medical records show extensive surgical modifications. What kind of modifications? Dr. Yuna pulled up detailed scans. Enhanced bone density, improved cardiovascular systems, upgraded nervous system responses, and some kind of cybernetic integration with their ship systems. They've modified themselves to be better soldiers? Yes, sir, but that's not the strangest part. The modifications are so common that they appear to be standard for all humans who travel in space. This isn't a military crew. This is what they consider normal. While Dr. Yuna was analyzing human biology, Tactical Officer J10 was diving deep into the human cultural databases. What he found there made the biological modifications seem trivial. "Admiral," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I've accessed their historical records, and, sir, humans have been fighting wars continuously for over 10,000 years. Not occasional conflicts, constant, ongoing warfare. They've fought wars with every weapon imaginable, in every environment possible, against every kind of enemy." Admiral Kethvar walked over to J1's station. "Show me." The main screen filled with data from human history. Wars fought with stone weapons. Wars fought with metal swords and spears. Wars fought with gunpowder and cannons. Wars fought with machine guns and tanks. Wars fought with nuclear weapons. Wars fought in space. "They've never had peace?" the Admiral asked. "Never, sir. The longest period without active warfare in their history is 18 years. Even then, they were preparing for the next war." "How is that possible? How does a species survive constant warfare for 10,000 years?" "By becoming the most efficient killers in the galaxy, sir." J1 pulled up more detailed records. "Look at this, Admiral. They don't just fight wars, they study them. They have detailed analyses of every battle they've ever fought. They learn from their mistakes, adapt their tactics, and become more dangerous with each conflict." "What about their technology development?" "Every major technological breakthrough in human history was driven by military necessity, sir. They developed flight to build better fighters. They developed computers to calculate artillery trajectories. They developed space travel to build orbital weapons platforms." Admiral Kethvar stared at the data in growing horror. "They militarized everything?" "Everything, sir. Their exploration programs, their scientific research, their industrial development. It's all connected to their military needs. Even their art and literature is focused on war themes." Science Officer Heejin had been analyzing the human ship's technical specifications while the others studied human biology and culture. Her findings were the most disturbing of all. "Admiral," she called out, "I've completed the technical analysis of their vessel. Report." "Sir, this ship isn't just designed for exploration. It's designed for extended independent operations in hostile territory. They can manufacture everything they need: weapons, ammunition, spare parts, even food and medical supplies. We knew that already. But sir, I've found something else. Hidden in their manufacturing databases are blueprints for much larger weapons." "What kind of weapons?" Heejin's hand shook as she brought up the data. "Planetary bombardment systems, sir. Weapons designed to destroy entire worlds from orbit. Why would an exploration ship have those blueprints?" "I don't think they're meant for this ship, sir. I think they're templates for rapid construction if needed. If this ship encountered a hostile world, it could land, set up manufacturing facilities, and build planet-killing weapons within a matter of weeks." Admiral Kethvar felt his biomechanical heart skip a beat. "They can build planet killers?" "Not just build them, sir. According to their technical manuals, they've actually used them multiple times against their own species." The bridge fell silent. Even the ship's biological systems seemed to pause in shock. "Sir?" came another voice from across the bridge. Communications specialist Su Young Han had been monitoring human transmissions. "I'm picking up more detailed communications between the human ship and their home system." "What are they saying?" "They're providing a full tactical assessment of our fleet, sir. Ship types, weapon systems, crew numbers, probable weaknesses. But sir, they're not treating us as a threat." "What do you mean?" "Their communication tone is casual, sir. They're discussing our fleet the same way they might discuss an interesting rock formation. They're curious about us, but they don't seem worried." Admiral Kethvar opened a communication channel to the human ship. "Captain Kim, this is Admiral Kethvar. We've completed our scan of your vessel." "I assumed you had, Admiral." "Pretty thorough job. Our sensors recorded everything you looked at." "Captain, I must ask, why does your exploration ship have blueprints for planetary destruction weapons?" There was a pause. "Well, you never know what you might run into out there. Better to have the capability and not need it than need it and not have it. But these are weapons capable of destroying entire worlds. Yes, sir. Like I said, you never know. We've run into some pretty nasty stuff in our exploration of the galaxy, such as hostile alien machines, deadly plagues, unstable stellar phenomena, aggressive alien species, rogue AI systems, dimensional incursions. Space is a dangerous place, Admiral. Admiral Kethvar realized that humans didn't build planet-killing weapons because they were evil. They built them because, in their experience, there were things out there that required planet-killing weapons to deal with. Captain, the Admiral said slowly, exactly how dangerous do you consider normal space exploration to be? Pretty dangerous, sir. That's why we only send volunteers and why we build our ships the way we do. Most exploration missions have about a 50-50 chance of coming back. 50%? Yes, sir. Better odds than the early missions, though. We've gotten a lot better at building ships and training crews. Admiral Kethvar cut the communication and looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him with expressions of pure terror. Sir, said Dr. Yuna quietly, I've been analyzing more of their cultural data. I think I understand why they're like this. Explain. Their home planet, sir, Earth. According to their records, it's what they call a death world. Death world? A planet where everything is trying to kill everything else, sir. Deadly weather, dangerous animals, poisonous plants, natural disasters, diseases, and hostile environments. They didn't develop civilization despite their dangerous world. They developed civilization because of it. They're adapted to survive on a planet that kills most life forms? Yes, sir. And then they took that adaptation and applied it to space exploration. They don't see the universe as a peaceful place to explore. They see it as a hostile environment to survive. Commander Jae-hwan pulled up more historical data. Admiral, there's something else. I've been analyzing their space exploration records. What did you find? They've been exploring space for less than 200 years, sir. But in that time, they've lost over 3,000 ships to what they call exploratio. Long-range sensors began picking up the human reinforcements when they were still 8 hours away. What they detected made every alien on the Coalition bridge question their understanding of space warfare. Admiral, called sensor operator Minjae, Kang, his voice tight with disbelief. You need to see the approaching human fleet. Admiral Kethvar moved to the sensor station hoping that the readings were wrong. What he saw on the display made him wish he had never left port. 12 ships, Minjae reported. But sir, the lead vessel is... He paused, checking his readings again. Admiral, the lead ship is 3.2 kilometers long. That's impossible. No ship needs to be that large. Sir, it's not just large. The mass readings suggest armor plating measured in meters, not centimeters. And the energy signatures, Admiral, that ship is putting out more power than our entire fleet combined. Science. Officer Heejin ran the sensor data through the ship's analysis computer. Admiral, based on the power readings and structural scans, that ship could destroy planets. Not just bombard them, actually crack them apart. Admiral Kethvar stared at the sensor display showing the approaching human fleet. The lead ship was massive beyond any reasonable need. The escort vessels were each larger than Coalition heavy cruisers, and there were 11 of them. What kind of species builds ships like that? He whispered. A species that expects to fight wars against multiple star systems simultaneously, replied Commander Jae-won-oh grimly. On the human ship Indomitable, Captain Jinwoo Kim was reviewing the tactical data on the approaching Coalition fleet. His crew worked calmly around him, running routine maintenance and system checks while surrounded by 12 alien warships. Captain, said Communications Officer Myung Park, Admiral Bay sends his regards and estimates arrival in 6 hours and 23 minutes. Any problems with the jump calculations? No, sir. Clean hyperspace all the way. Battle Group 7 is running ahead of schedule. Engineer Do-hyun Nam looked up from his console. Captain, should I begin prep for possible combat operations? Jinwoo considered this. Standard readiness protocols, but don't do anything that might seem aggressive to our alien friends. Standard readiness for a human ship meant bringing all weapons to full charge, loading all missile tubes, warming up the manufacturing systems, and preparing the crew for extended combat operations. To humans, this was just being careful. Sir, said Tactical Officer Tae-hyun Lee. "I've completed my analysis of the alien fleet. They have impressive technology, but their ships seem to be built more for show than for fighting." "What do you mean?" "Beautiful designs, sir, but all those curves and organic shapes create weak points. Their weapons are powerful but limited in number. Most importantly, their ships don't seem to have redundant systems." "No redundancy?" "No, sir. Each ship appears to have single-point failures throughout their design. Take out the right system, and the whole ship goes down." Jinwoo nodded. The aliens had advanced technology, but they clearly didn't think like humans. They built their ships to be efficient and elegant, not to survive massive battle damage. "Captain," said Navigator Seojin Yu, "I've been monitoring their fleet communications. Their translation algorithms are getting better." "What are they saying?" "They're very confused about our ship design, sir. They keep talking about our excessive redundancy and unnecessary armor. I don't think they understand why we build ships the way we do." On the Coalition flagship, the analysis of the approaching human fleet continued to paint an increasingly grim picture. Senior analyst Subin Kang had been studying the formations and movement patterns of the human ships. "Admiral," she reported, "the human fleet is approaching in what appears to be a standard military formation." "Military formation?" "Yes, sir. The large ship is in the center, with smaller vessels arranged in defensive positions around it. But, sir, they're not just escorting the big ship. They're also scanning everything within 50 light years. Scanning for what?" "Everything, sir. Other fleets, planetary defenses, space stations, asteroid bases, hidden installations. They're conducting a complete tactical survey of this entire region of space." Admiral Kethvar realized that the humans weren't just coming to rescue their ship. They were coming to evaluate the entire coalition presence in this sector and plan for future military operations. "What else can you tell me about their formation?" "Their ships are maintaining precise distances from each other, sir. Perfect coordination, military precision, and sir, I'm detecting some kind of energy field connecting all their ships." "Energy field?" "Some kind of networked shielding system. If one ship is attacked, the others can reinforce its defenses." "Admiral, they've turned their entire fleet into a single distributed weapons system." Science Officer Heejin was conducting detailed scans of the approaching human ships when she made a discovery that chilled her to her biomechanical core. "Admiral," she called out urgently, "I'm detecting manufacturing activity aboard the human ships." "What kind of manufacturing?" "They're building something, sir. Multiple ships are producing components and the lead vessel appears to be assembling them." "Building what?" Heejin ran the energy patterns through her analysis systems. "Sir, based on the power signatures and material flows, they appear to be constructing additional weapon systems." "They're building weapons while traveling to meet us?" "Yes, sir. And not just weapons. They're also manufacturing ammunition, spare parts, and what appears to be additional small craft." Admiral Kethvar stared at the sensor readings. The humans weren't just bringing a fleet to rescue their ship. They were bringing a mobile weapons factory that was actively preparing for war while en route to the meeting. "Sir," came another voice from the communications station, "I'm detecting a new transmission from the human ship to the approaching fleet." "What are they saying?" "They're providing updated tactical assessments of our fleet, sir. But they're also sending cultural and linguistic data." "Cultural data?" "Yes, sir. They're teaching their reinforcement fleet how to communicate with us." Admiral Kethvar realized that the humans were preparing for both war and diplomacy simultaneously. They were ready to fight, but they were also ready to talk. The choice would be entirely up to the coalition. "Sir," said Dr. Yuna Seo, who had been monitoring the biological readings from the approaching human fleet, "I'm detecting some disturbing patterns in the crew compositions of the incoming ships." "Such as?" "The largest ship has a crew of over 12,000, sir. But it's not just a large crew. They have specialized personnel that we haven't seen on the exploration vessel." "What kind of specialists?" "Planetary assault troops, sir. Specialists in what their databases call hostile environment operations. And sir, they have medical facilities capable of treating massive casualties." "They're bringing an invasion force?" "It appears so, sir. The human reinforcements aren't just a rescue fleet. They're prepared to conduct full-scale military operations against entire star systems. Commander J-10 had been analyzing the strategic implications of the human fleet's approach vector and formation. What he discovered added another layer of dread to an already terrifying situation. "Admiral," he said quietly, "I've been studying their approach patterns. They're not just coming to this location." "What do you mean?" "Sir, their formation and timing suggest they've dispatched similar fleets to multiple locations throughout Coalition space. This isn't just a response to our encounter with their exploration ship. This is a coordinated deployment throughout our territory." "How many fleets?" "Unknown, sir. But based on their communication patterns and navigation data, I estimate at least 50 similar battle groups have been dispatched to strategic locations throughout the galaxy." Admiral Kethver felt his command authority crumbling around him. The humans hadn't just responded to first contact with one ship. They had responded with a galaxy-wide military deployment. "Sir," said communications specialist Su-Young Han, "I'm receiving a transmission from Coalition Command." "What do they say?" "They're reporting contact with human fleets in 17 different star systems, sir. All Coalition forces are being ordered to avoid engagement and withdraw to defensive positions." Admiral Kethavar realized that what had started as a simple first contact scenario had become a potential galaxy-wide war, and the Coalition was not prepared for a war against an enemy that built exploration ships stronger than their military. "Vessels, sir," called sensor operator Minjay urgently. "The human fleet has begun deploying something." "Deploying what?" "Unknown, sir, but they're launching smaller craft from all their ships, hundreds of them." "Fighters?" "No, sir. These appear to be autonomous platforms of some kind. They're spreading throughout the system and, Admiral, they're scanning everything." Admiral Kethvar watched as hundreds of small human craft spread throughout the star system, conducting detailed scans of every planet, every asteroid, every piece of space debris. The humans were mapping the entire system for future reference. "They're not just preparing for this battle," he realized aloud. "They're preparing to control this entire star system, sir," said Science Officer Heejin. "I'm detecting something else. The human fleet has begun charging some kind of massive energy weapon." "On which ship all of them, sir?" "Every ship in their fleet is charging weapons simultaneously." Admiral Kethvar looked at his tactical display. Admiral Kyungsoo Bay stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching as his fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. At 3.2 kilometers long, the Retribution was not the largest ship in the human fleet, but it was the most advanced. Its crew of 12,000 had trained for this moment, first contact with a hostile alien civilization. "Admiral," reported Navigation Officer Haeun Lim, "we have arrived at the specified coordinates. Indomitable is in visual range, surrounded by 12 alien vessels. Status of our ship? All systems green, sir. Captain Kim reports no damage and no casualties. The aliens appear to be maintaining a defensive posture." Admiral Bay nodded. The aliens had made the smart choice by not firing on a human exploration vessel. That decision might have saved their entire civilization. "Communications. Open a channel to the alien fleet." "Channel open, sir." "This is Admiral Bay of the Terran Federation Battle Group 7. We are here to retrieve our exploration vessel and crew. We have no hostile intentions, but we are prepared to defend our people." The response came quickly in heavily accented English. "Admiral Bay, this is Admiral Kethvar of the Galactic Coalition. We would like to discuss terms." "What kind of terms, Admiral Kethvar?" "Terms of our withdrawal from this system. We did not realize that this region of space was under human protection." Admiral Bay looked at his crew. His tactical officer, Commander Woojin Choi, was running diagnostics on the weapon systems while humming an old Earth song about soldiers coming home. His engineering crew was monitoring the ship's 3 fusion reactors and backup systems with casual efficiency. "Admiral Kethvar," Admiral Bay replied, "this system isn't under human protection. We're just here to collect our people." There was a long pause before the alien admiral responded. "Then, you're not claiming this territory?" "No, sir. We're explorers, not conquerors. We're happy to share space with peaceful neighbors." On the Coalition flagship, Admiral Kethvar looked around, his bridge in confusion. The humans had brought a massive fleet of warships, charged their weapons, deployed hundreds of scanning drones, and conducted a complete tactical assessment of the star system. But they claimed they were just here to collect one ship. "Sir," whispered Science Officer Heejin, "their fleet is maintaining combat readiness, but they're not targeting our ships." "What are they targeting?" "Nothing, sir. Their weapons are charged and ready, but not aimed at anything specific. It's like they're just prepared." Admiral Kethvar was beginning to understand that prepared was the normal state for human military forces. They didn't prepare for specific threats, they prepared for everything. "Admiral Bay," he said carefully, "may I ask why you brought such a large fleet to retrieve one exploration ship?" "Standard protocol, Admiral. When one of our ships requests backup, we send sufficient force to handle any situation that might develop. And this is sufficient force? For a first contact situation with unknown aliens? Yes, this should be adequate." Admiral Kethvar realized that the humans considered 12 heavily armed warships to be adequate for a simple first contact scenario. He didn't want to imagine what they considered adequate for actual warfare. "Admiral Bay, we scanned your exploration vessel. We found some concerning information about human military capabilities. Such as? Your ship appears to be designed for extended combat operations. Your crew appears to be trained soldiers. Your databases contain detailed information about warfare spanning thousands of years." There was a pause before Admiral Bay responded. "Admiral Kethvar, I think there might be some misunderstanding about human society. Please explain." "We're not a military species, sir. We're explorers and scientists and engineers. But we've learned that the universe can be dangerous, so we prepare accordingly." "You consider constant warfare preparation to be normal?" "We consider it to be prudent. Space is big and most of it wants to kill you in various creative ways. We build our ships strong and train our crews well because we've lost too many good people to preventable disasters." On the human flagship, engineer Ji-Young An was monitoring the conversation while running routine maintenance on the ship's weapon systems. The aliens seemed genuinely surprised by human military preparations, which she found puzzling. "Admiral," she said to Admiral Bay, "the aliens seem confused about our standard operating procedures." "What do you mean, Chief? They keep asking why we build ships the way we do, why we train crews the way we do, why we brought so many ships. It's like they've never encountered species that prepare for trouble." Admiral Bay nodded. "Most species probably don't, Chief. Most species probably never had to." "Had to what, sir?" "Had to learn that the universe doesn't care about your good intentions." Meanwhile, on the Coalition flagship, Dr. Yuna Seo was conducting more detailed scans of the human fleet. What she found made her call out in alarm. "Admiral Kethvar, I'm detecting massive manufacturing activity throughout their fleet." "They're still building weapons?" "Not weapons, sir. They're manufacturing everything. Spare parts, ammunition, food, medical supplies, even replacement crew uniforms. Sir, this fleet is completely self-sufficient." "For how long?" Dr. Yuna checked her readings. "Based on their manufacturing capacity and resource recycling systems, indefinitely, sir. This fleet could operate in deep space for decades without resupply." Admiral Kethvar realized that the human fleet wasn't just visiting this star system. They were prepared to stay here permanently if necessary. They had brought everything needed to establish a permanent military presence. "Admiral Bay," he said into the radio, "your fleet appears to be equipped for extended operations." "Yes, sir. Standard exploration protocol. We never know how long a mission might take." "How long are you prepared to remain in this system?" "As long as necessary, Admiral. We don't abandon our people." The simple statement sent a chill through the Coalition crew. The humans would stay here forever if needed to protect one exploration ship and its crew. "Sir," said communications specialist Su-Young Han urgently, "I'm receiving priority transmissions from Coalition Command." "What do they say?" "Sir, they're reporting similar encounters throughout Coalition space. Human fleets have appeared in 17 star systems. All Coalition forces have been ordered to withdraw to defensive positions." Admiral Kethvar felt the galaxy shifting around him. The appearance of one human exploration ship had triggered a coordinated deployment of human fleets across known space. This wasn't just first contact. This was a demonstration of military capability on a galactic scale. "Admiral Bay," he said, "may I ask how many fleets humanity has deployed in response to the situation?" "Let me check with command, Admiral." After a few minutes, Admiral Bay's voice came back. "Admiral Kethvar, Fleet Command reports that we currently have active deployments in 43 star systems, with additional fleets on standby." 43 fleets? "Yes, sir. We wanted to make sure we could respond quickly to any developments." "Admiral," Kethvar did the math. "If each fleet was similar to Battle Group 7, the humans had deployed over 500 warships in response to one first contact incident." "Admiral Bay, exactly how large is the human fleet?" "Our active fleet? Let me get you exact numbers." Another pause. "Admiral Kethvar, we currently have 847,000 active vessels with production capacity for approximately 12,000 new ships annually." The number hit the coalition bridge like a physical blow. 847,000 ships. The entire coalition fleet, accumulated over centuries of expansion, numbered less than 50,000 vessels. That's not possible," Admiral Kethvar whispered. "Sir, is there a problem with those numbers? How does one species build so many ships?" "Well, Admiral, we've been exploring space for about 200 years now. We've learned that it's better to have ships and not need them than to need ships and not have them. Space is dangerous." On the human exploration ship Indomitable, Captain Jinwoo Kim was listening to the conversation between the two admirals. His crew continued their normal duties, but he could see they were proud of their fleet. "Captain," said Communications Officer Myung Park, "the aliens seem surprised by our fleet strength." "They're probably not used to species that prepare for trouble," Jinwoo replied. "Sir, do you think they understand what they almost started?" Jinwoo looked at the tactical display showing the alien ships. Beautiful vessels, clearly advanced, but not built for war. "I don't think they understand what war means to humans, Myung." "What do you mean, sir?" "They think of war as something that happens between governments. We think of war as something that happens between species. When they threatened one human ship, they threatened all of humanity." On the coalition flagship, the conversation between admirals continued. "Admiral Bay," said Admiral Kethvar carefully, "what would have happened if we had fired on your exploration ship?" "That would have been unfortunate, Admiral." "Unfortunate how?" "We would have been forced to respond, sir. No one attacks human vessels without consequences." "What kind of consequences?" Admiral Bay's voice remained calm and professional. "Complete and immediate military response, Admiral. We would have considered it an act of war against humanity." "War?" "Yes, sir. We take the protection of human lives very seriously." Admiral Kethvar realized that the humans didn't see the attack on one,